This project, our Desert Oaks project, took place in Odessa, Texas. Now this is West Texas. This is a rural community where there aren't a lot of trades and craftsmen to create the type of home that we're about to show you. I'm Jess Bennett, and I'm the creative director at Alice Lane. This project is one of a kind, extraordinary build. This is a new build, new construction that started in 2020, and we installed it in 2025. And to me, it's like the American dream takes the West.
My name is Suzanne Hall, and I'm the president of design here at Alice Lane Interior Design. If I had to describe this project, it's quirky. The homeowner loves something spooky. She loves a story, so this house is supposed to feel like a story. When I first started this project, we did not know what we were signing up for completely, but it's been such a journey. We worked with Keith Summerhour, the architect, and he drew up the most gorgeous plans. When I saw the plans, I'm like, this is going to be an incredible project. It wasn't like anything that we'd ever done before, which was really, really exciting. And so it was an easy yes to sign up for this. We had no idea what we were signing up for, but I would do it again tomorrow.
We wanted to take on this Desert Oaks project because we were really excited about the client. We knew it was going to be a home run. And even though it stretched on longer than they were planning to, or even we were due to a global pandemic, it didn't matter.
Some of the biggest curveballs we faced in this project was probably its location. It's in Odessa, which is, again, West Texas, and there's not a lot of like urban craftsmen and like shops close by. We went there for a site visit to go slab shopping, and the site visit was great, but then when it came to go pick out the slabs, we had to drive 3 hours. Did we find a slab that looked like Missoni? Yes, we did. You know what? This project evolved over time. Again, we had that 5 years to kind of really get this thing right. And there's this like little closet in the family room that's hidden by a built-in, her hidden little pocket. And she's like, I want to do something really fun in here. So we designed it. We did a really cool floral orange and blue wallpaper. And it was like really audacious. And we did bright orange on the trim. Just like those selections. When we started to kind of flex that muscle, she, I think, felt really like emboldened, and she became more brave, and we became more brave in how we presented things to her. Or even after some of those things, we're like, you know what? We should shift the fabric here. It could be more fun, and it should be more fun because you're more fun. And it evolved into something that was so much better. I think she became more and more comfortable to share like that she likes haunted houses and spooky things. And I think if we saw something that we're just like, ooh, we should show this to Catherine. She's going to die. She would love this. This feels like her. And vice versa. She'd be like, oh, you know what? I experienced this, or I want to have this. We were just honest with each other. And if you hold back, it'll be the house that got away. When someone walks into a home, it should tell your story. And because she embraced that, I think it's the most authentic story to tell. I think also when you start to walk the space and the client starts to feel and talk about how they want to use it, you're talking, okay, like we're going to entertain over here. I think this is like where this should happen. And then we start to then be thinking about furniture. And again, the space planning and how you're going to move through space. And how many people do you want to like house in here for a party? Okay, 50. Perfect. Okay, we'll definitely like amp up the, amount of seating groups. And I don't know, it becomes very real when you start to feel it live and feel the emotion too. I think like this is such a massive investment. I'm going to cry. When you start to hear the client talk about how they're going to use space with their family, with their friends, how many people they want to invite to the Christmas party, that's when it becomes real. Like that's when you can like really see this is the backdrop of their life, of their memories, and that's when it clicks.
Great answer.
Good.
That was awesome. Trying to keep the vision alive is definitely part of the job of the interior design team, but I think the vision continued to get richer and deeper the more that we understood who the clients were and the more they started to see each of the finishes applied. And there's things in the process where you do tweak vision, but you continue to harken back to the roots, the plans. Even though it's been installed, the client is actually still in the process and wants to continue to layer things in because it wasn't like a quick one and done where she just wanted it all done in 6 months and it's complete. She's now in the storytelling phase of the project, which is really quite romantic, and we love this part.
You become really good friends. You're like in the depths of something that's really hard, especially over such a long timeline. And I feel like we'll be friends for the rest of our lives just because of what you learn about each other when you're building such a sacred space. There were a couple bold ideas that like really paid off in the end. And they were kind of last minute audibles too, where we had one idea that we were running with that was safe, but then like last minute we're like, oh, but it could be great. There's like a little bathroom that was originally going to be the pool bath. We had this like Gucci lion wallpaper that we had ordered years ago. I'm so glad we did because then it got discontinued. We were looking at the pictures and like, oh, it'd be so fun to do red. Take something really bold from the wallpaper that's unexpected. That'd be so crazy of us. Should we do it? Should we do it? Should we paint red? Are we painting red? So we showed the client a bunch. We showed her blue, we showed her black, and then we had our wild card. We had the red. She was so down for it. And she was so trusting. She's like, that's it. That's the color we need to have in there. It's such a mood. It's such a mood in there. I would say that that was one of the risks that really paid off. And also the pantry ceiling. I'm so taken by how it turned out that I can't remember what it was supposed to be originally, but I do remember pictures coming in from the builder. And we proposed these like coved corners to kind of pillow in this space. And I was like, oh, that's such an opportunity. We should paint that something like more exciting. Let's darken the blue. That was the right move. I'm so glad it wasn't more neutral or lighter. It needed to be deeper or you'd lose the cove. All that work, to propose such a beautiful detail like that, you would have lost it. We picked a blue that was really beautiful with everything happening in the kitchen so it didn't feel foreign. It felt intentional. Moments in the project where I felt a little unsure were probably the living room paneling. You walk into this entry reception area and it's open to this like living room parlor. This big ta-da moment. This portion of the house was supposed to feel like it's always sat there. And so the very original like concept and design move we were going to make was to not do white paneling, but to do actual stain grade paneling to make it feel historic. And at the time it was 2020. So everything's painted white. And so we talked about it with a client in 2020. We're like, we could go painted. We could go stain grade. We really love the look of the stain grade, but we got her feel on it. And at one point it's like, we're going to paint it white. It'll be formal. It'll be traditional. It'll be beautiful. And so it was that way for quite a while. But as the house continued to develop, we were looking at it and we're like, we had to go back to the process. We had to go back to that initial love story of the stain grade paneling. And we're like, this has soul, and the client, as she lived through this whole process, just only became more brave to take these risks. Because again, it's not like it was trending. And it sounds so funny because I'm like, stain grade paneling, that's such a traditional move. But at the time, it wasn't necessarily what everyone was doing. And so I think that was a little bit of a curveball that we were thrown. And I'm really, really happy with where we landed. Because it's probably my favorite space in the house is sitting in that stained grade paneling. It's warm and it is historic, and anything you put in front of it just feels like it has a story. I love it when a home has that kind of integrity, that when you feel what is on the outside is then seen again on the inside. That same Texas tumbled limestone happening on the exterior, and then we had it on all the interior. And I just think that was such a gorgeous representation of the craftsmanship, because that was not easy. That was not a veneer. Those were full stone installations. I remember when we went on an install and just seeing mountains of this stone that was to be like put inside the interior of this house. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a feat. But the craftsmanship of how it was executed was incredible. Also, steel doors and windows. Because it is such an expense, rarely do we get to actually see steel happen in a project. A lot of times they're trying to get that look for less, but they actually pulled the trigger and they did steel. You can tell, like, there's just such an authenticity to these materials. And like, the room was completely naked, no furniture, just the glazing, the steel, the stone, the natural wood. And like, we could have walked away and thrown a picnic blanket down. Like, it was that good. It's so beautiful because of the materials that were used, from architecture to design. And in the stair tower, you guys, when I saw the plans initially come in from the architect, I saw the reception parlor was like this main portion of the house. And then you had like almost this turret. And it was a stair tower with these massive windows and the stairs that kind of graduated up to the second floor. And all that was to be treated in the stone. I was like, oh my gosh. In my mind, when I first saw it, I was just like, ooh, castle. Like kind of, I felt like a little medieval about it. But then as we kept seeing these drawings evolve and the stair railings evolve, and it's like, honestly, one of my favorite features of the house is that stair tower. I just think it is magnificent. And it took a great amount of craftsmanship and a great amount of engineering and just the most talented of artisans to make that happen. These are a couple of the spaces that I think the actual materials that I think carried this home and will continue to carry it for generations.
I love that the client wanted a feeling in that master suite, and that's what we were able to solve for. So she said on these hot desert days, she wanted this room to feel like an overcast, rainy day in the Pacific Northwest. So we selected a Gracie paper that would give her that cool, calm, overcast feeling, and you can just see those tones. It's almost like a bathwater undertone, and then you've got these beautiful florals, which are able to bloom in a wet environment, not the desert. And she even went so far as to get Laura Piana bedding, which is extraordinary. Making the bed in this home was a luxury like none other. And I just think the space is so special and calm and serene. And I think a real tip for all of us that when we're designing a space, especially a really, really personal space like a primary bedroom, that you can go for a feeling and then design for that. Oh, the pinch me moment on this project, there's so many, but let's just talk about that carved marble fireplace in the parlor. I have never seen anything quite as extraordinary and deep and sculpted, and it deserves to be in the Louvre. This thing is so beautiful. I feel amazed by it, and it just absolutely grounds the room in the most beautiful, classical, interesting way, surrounded by all that depth. I think walking in the front door and then getting to discover that was probably the greatest pinch me moment.
People often ask, like, how do you keep the design spark and inspiration going over this long of a project? ALID, we work in teams. So we have a brilliant group that we're all feeding each other ideas, and we're sharing Instagrams and like brilliant building processes. And because of that, it just continues to level up every time. And then we get to share those with the client, and then she'll have an idea, and then it levels up even more. That's what's inspiring. You want to make it better, not because it's just you, but because it's for a team. And that team is working for an amazing client, and you want the results to feel like them. After we've installed a project and you see that first round of furniture go in and the window treatments are live and they're hanging, and you're starting to put the client's art up on the wall. Like there's nothing more Christmas Day than that. Like it is so fun to see the story come to life that you've been telling yourself for the last 5 years. And I know this house will continue to get more layered and more ooey gooey. And so I don't think this house is done. I don't think it ever should be.
I think Desert Oaks is a perfect example of what Alice Lane interior design is all about. It says that we can take on the dream home and we can stick with it for half a decade and deliver on a really beautiful project. And we told a story while we were doing it. So I couldn't be more proud of the firm. And I feel proud of the team that we are finishers and that we take things to the end of the row. We never know what we're signing up for when we take on a project. And that was true for Desert Oaks as well. But I have to say, it turned out better than we ever expected. And within creating a beautiful home, we created a long-lasting friendship. I feel like we all have a crush on the wife, and she's a dear, dear friend now. So it could have taken longer and we'd still be thrilled. But we're going to continue to add layers to this house over the years. And hopefully we will never consider it to be completed.